Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany Simon. We do philosophy through pop culture and we use real people's lives to learn more about our own. This is Love is Blind UK Season 2. Let's get started. Please like, subscribe, and send this to somebody else who's watching the series, and let's see what happens.
So we know what you're here for, but fill us in on what's got you to this point.
Live in a generation where everything is so visual. You might meet somebody and they think, oh my gosh, yeah, you're beautiful, but can I get better?
It's hard being judged by your looks. Like, it's something I've been judged on in the past. So taking that out of the picture, you'll be able to gain a deeper connection and not be judged like from face value.
The show always starts off this way where they interview the contestants and then they move into actually dating in the pods. And the girls are saying what I think a lot of people are saying right now, that it is difficult dating, that, you know, you're always swiping or it's always about how you look. And, you know, I think that's true. I think a lot of people are in those dating bubbles. I'm a big fan of finding your partner in any way that makes sense for you uniquely. I never had much luck on the dating apps. It's, you know, it's good that I tried them at least. The seriousness of are you ready to find your high compatibility partner is a question I don't think we actually get in regular dating bubbles. I think in regular dating bubbles, it's more or less like, let's date for a few years to figure out if we like each other. And so asking really important and focused questions right away, I think just helps expedite whether or not this person is really compatible with you. So I'm very interested to see how this season goes. I really did enjoy last season a lot. And I enjoyed seeing some of the contestants like Ollie on other shows, which I really enjoyed. And so I wonder how I'll come to like these contestants and get to know them as real people. And remember, if you have something spicy to say about these people, just a reminder that they are real people. So, you know, leave that down in my comment sections and don't take it to theirs. You know, these are real people putting themselves out there and really trying to do something. And so we always just want to be like kind and compassionate with that realization that this is somebody's real life.
I'm hoping to find my potential soulmate, someone that is family orientated, that is just willing to have a laugh with me, because I just want to be able to laugh for the rest of my life with my forever person.
What I did is I wrote down everyone's names on a sheet of paper, but I also have a website I'm using with all of their pictures and details. And I'm very interested to see how everyone connects with one another. The age range seems to be mostly 30s, but I've noticed a few people are in their 20s. And I think the youngest person that I noticed is on the list is a woman, and she's 26, Yolanda. So we'll meet her eventually, I'm sure. But most of the people in this season are basically in their 30s, and everyone has a pretty established job, give or take. So I'll be curious to see how they connect. Also, I don't know exactly when this was filmed, but I also assume recently, which means they're dating in this economy. And this economy is difficult right now. So I'm also curious about that. How many people are local? How many people flew in? How many people are going to have to do long distance?
Actually does inhibit my relationships and being able to build a connection. I've been single for about 4.5 years, and I just want someone who sees me for more than just cabin crew. And
I assume cabin crew is flight attendants. Fun fact, my cousin's a flight attendant and I looked into doing it as a job, but it is not the way you think it is. Like working at an airport or for an airport or an airline is not exactly what people think it is. And the schedule's kind of interesting. You're kind of on call from my understanding. It's not as like cut and dry as you think. So I can see why that would impact her dating life.
It's always been my sisters or my friends. Always people have said to me, just believe in yourself more. Trust yourself and you can do it.
Okay, already Ashley's like, she's given a lot. That's a lot of energy. That's very interesting. You guys know I'm queer. I would love a queer Love is Blind. That would be so fantastic. But it's so interesting, just the energy. I'm 36 now, but I remember being 30. And this is just like a lot of energy in relation to finding a partner. I think you should deconstruct your attachment to finding a partner. I feel like Ashley is a little too attached to the outcome in this regard. So philosophically speaking, I would, you know, have her meditate on that, deconstruct it. She's just very overwhelmed with the pressure of like believing in herself in order to find a partner. Is that what at least that's what I'm getting from the edit. And that feels like not good, but very typical of society to make you feel bad for not being partnered, right?
I'm actually in the army, so I'm so used to traveling around.
I was in the Army Cadets.
You were in the Army Cadets? Yeah. I love it, because I was in the Army Cadets as well.
Oh my God. And so you've been in the military all your life?
Yeah, so I've been in 16 years now, and I'm in the physical training corps.
Do you know what? I really respect the forces, and I always go to Remembrance Sunday.
Okay, interesting. So Billy's 35 and Ashley's 30, and they're really bonding on like, is this patriotism? I know this isn't my bubble. Obviously, I'm an American, so like I'm not used to how important this day is. Is this like y'all's 4th of July or like your Memorial Day? Or is this like your, what is this? Is this, you know, I'm not sure what's going on here, but they're really bonding on their love of like the military, I guess. So, okay, I guess that's good that they have shared values in that regard.
It's a really lonely job at times. So, yeah, ready to, if I met the right guy, then yeah, who knows where life would take me. Are you close to your family?
I love my family a bit. So my dad's over in England.
Been single for over 4 years now. So I just had a relationship that really knocked me.
So she's 30, had a relationship 4 years ago, so 26, that really rocked her. You know, our 20s are very significant. They really teach us a lot about ourselves. So she had a really important sort of big relationship in her 20s. Very valid. I also don't think it's a red flag that she's been single for 4 years. I think that can be really reasonable. I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, you go through periods of your life where you might be dating, but really picking a partner, settling down with someone is a different experience. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all. The question is she healed and done with the last relationship? Is the last relationship still a issue in her current relationship with self? That's the question.
Low in confidence, and I just had to rebuild myself.
Yeah.
I really lost trust in men.
It takes time, doesn't it?
I probably looked for the wrong values in people, to be honest.
Ooh, I love that. I probably looked for the wrong values in people, to be honest. Relatable. Yes, I like that.
I want someone that's honest and respectful.
That sounds perfect.
Tell me about your relationships.
Yeah, not. I obviously go into more detail,
Yeah.
but I was actually married once upon a time 5 years ago.
Oh, wow. Like, what happened? Was it just like...
We just fell out of love. Yeah, we're both in the army, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so he was previously married. Also not a red flag. I don't think it's a red flag to date a divorcee because of exactly this reason. A lot of people settle, they marry the wrong people, they fall out of love, they're not dating for values or high compatibility. And if their military is anything like our military, the divorce rate is like 70%, you know? And so that's not surprising to me.
Does divorce scare you now that you've been there?
I just don't like the thought of it. So I want to marry someone, and I did marry at the time for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Sure.
Divorce never crossed my mind.
Right.
So when
It often doesn't. Most people don't get married thinking they'll get divorced. Actually, I think this is what significantly made me a little different in my 20s is the reason I never married anybody I was dating is because I always thought about divorce, not as like the end of the world, because it's not, but you know, who wants to file paperwork? So I think that you should be thinking of divorce, but not after you're in the relationship, right? Like you shouldn't go into your marriage thinking we'll get divorced, but you should consider it during the courting or dating stage of, you know, what are your values around divorce, you know, because you also don't want to date somebody who's like, never get divorced, even if there's abuse. Like we don't want to JD Vance this, right? We want to make sure that you always know divorce is an option, but you don't want to go into your marriage thinking about divorce either. But also how much thought went into that unionship before they made those vows? Like how much thought really went into it? What questions were they asking? It'll be interesting to see how this dating process forces people to ask questions they never asked before.
I want us to light each other's worlds up.
that sounds perfect, and I'm sitting here already smiling. Definitely an old-fashioned romantic. I was probably born in the wrong generation or single in the wrong generation anyway. I just want to find a love of my life.
I think I'm still single because I treat first dates like an interview.
To be fair, dating is an interview. It's a fun interview. It's an exciting opportunity to ask questions and have them answered. The issue is that we're told to lie on the first date or put our best foot forward. And so we sort of, I think, don't like being asked questions that will make us feel like we have to like play our hand correctly in order to answer correctly, in order to be interesting to someone, in order for them to pick us. You know, I'm rewatching all of Seinfeld right now, and George is just such a misogynistic, homophobic little incel. But something that's so funny about George is he's exactly what's wrong with dating, where he's always lying, always fibbing, always creating these grand stories about who he is so women will like him. And then it always backfires on him because it's not good to do, you know? If he would just tell the truth, I feel like sometimes it would go better for him. But, you know, the show's a show about bad people, so I get it. But either way, I can see why her personality is abrasive to people, but I can also see why it would be very like comforting to some people, maybe because I am autistic and a Taurus. I feel like I would like that sort of like cats or dogs interview style. Because, yeah, I also, to be fair, have gotten feedback from people I've dated that it does feel like a pretty intense interview. But, you know, I'm married, so it must have worked somehow. You know what I mean? With the right person, the high compatibility will be based off values, and your personality clicking will either, it will or it won't, right? So when we date, when we look for high compatibility, we want to match our values together. So the resume, and then we want to make sure we're actually attracted to each other, right? Because these things are important.
Do you not like cats?
Like a cat, you have to really work for its love, and I'm just really not here for that. Give me some dad jokes, because I'm obsessed with dad jokes.
I was in a bank earlier and an old woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her over.
Okay, that's funny.
Why did the skeleton cross the road to get to the body shop?
She's very judgy on her face. I don't know, is she an autistic queen? Is she doesn't feel neurotypical to me. Just straight off the bat, the girl does not give neurotypical. So I'm like, what's going on here?
Do you live on your own?
Yeah, I do.
I just live at home, me and my mum.
I don't want to date someone who lives with their mom. Be like, all right, Sandra, can I just go to your son's bedroom?
True, same. In my 30s, absolutely not about to date somebody who lives with their parents. No offense.
I'm a very guarded person because I'm petrified of giving myself to somebody and not being enough.
Interesting. I wonder where that stems from. I wonder what's going on there. But I kind of like her. There's something about her abrasiveness. She also doesn't give neurotypical, so a part of me likes her better. Like the way her facial expression works, the way her eyes are, the way she's like coming off. It doesn't feel shallow or mean or cruel. It just feels like almost like disconnected in an autistic way. And I don't mean to project or diagnose, obviously. It's just I'm relating. Yeah, there's something there. I don't know. Are you guys seeing it, or am I just seeing it?
I'm a hopeless romantic. So my story's already written and I hope it's in Love is Blind. My name's Sophie.
Sophie, it is wonderful to meet you.
What's your name?
My name's Kieran. I am an entrepreneur in the gaming world, so I'm actually a massive nerd.
I am a commercial manager for a global renewables company.
Sustainability and all that.
I love to say that's why I do it, but it actually pays really well.
Oh, okay. So he made like a little joke, like, oh, do you do your job? Sophie's a senior commercial manager. Oh, do you do your job because of the environment? She goes, I'd like to tell people that, but it just pays really well. That's interesting. That's also a values priority that she's expressed. So he can take that into consideration. If you want somebody who cares about the environment versus somebody who cares about the paycheck, there's something there. Okay.
I'm one of 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
1 of 5.
And I'm the only girl. I've got 4 brothers.
Have you ever been in love?
No. Have you?
I was in a...
Okay, hold on. Sophie's 28, never been in love. Okay, that's interesting. I'd be curious about that. I wonder if she's dated much. I wonder if she's, a lot of things. She's very interesting already. Like she's not typical, right? She looks typical. She's got the very blonde, aesthetic, very high femme. But the fact that she's never been in love, the fact that she's 28, the fact that she gives not neurotypical, there's just like, she's giving very neurodivergent. So I would love to already know so much more about her. Also for him, he's talking about how he's a gaming entrepreneur. I'm curious if he means like TikToker, content creator, YouTuber. I'm not exactly sure what he means, or if he means traditional gaming. I guess we'll find out.
7-year relationship, which ended a year ago. I don't think I've ever had like a deep emotional connection though.
So 7-year relationship, says he was in love, but maybe not a deep romantic connection. I think that's interesting and important to pay attention to, because I think a lot of us were in love, but there's a difference between being in love with somebody and finding your high compatibility partner. And I think that for me, there's just a key difference. Like, I definitely think I was in love in my 20s, but I think the in love I have now with my married partner is just so significantly different, probably because we share values and we are high compatibility. Like, it is the most easy, smooth experience I've ever had in my life. It is just so, obviously, like, we're just so good together that it's just so significant. Like the love gets deeper every day versus I think with my other partnerships, the love got less every day, if that makes sense. Because like, it's like you date, you don't know this person. And so you're going through the dating process and you build the love, and then the love goes down as you get towards a breakup, versus in the marriage, it feels like just like the love gets more. We get closer and more intimate every day. It's a very different experience than my other dating experiences.
I feel like we're in a similar boat. I had a 5-year relationship.
Okay, hold on. So she said she's never been in love, but she was also in a 5-year relationship. Interesting. Now, okay, this is interesting because I also watched Dr. Kirkonda, who reviews Love is Blind as a season, and he says that most people think they were never in love after a bad relationship because they don't also want to admit to themselves that they were in love with somebody that they didn't work out with. Or sometimes after a breakup, we like to sort of like pretend we weren't as invested. And I actually take that to heart because I think in my 20s, I convinced myself at some point that I wasn't in love with my former partners. But the truth was I was in love with them, but it didn't matter. I think you can be in love with people and not pick them, or be in love with people and not marry them, or be in love with people and not be compatible. Because I think being in love with a consciousness is not as like significant as we make it out to be. And yet it can be the most significant relationship you can have with somebody other than with yourself. Because first and foremost, your relationship with self should be the most significant. And then of course, you have a relationship with your significant other as significant as yourself, right? So there's something to be said here about her being in a 5-year relationship and saying she was never in love. Like maybe there's something there we can deconstruct.
Outgrew him. Like he felt like my best friend and not my husband.
Ooh, I outgrew him. He felt like my best friend and not my husband. Interesting. I wonder if they're still close now. I am curious about that.
That's with someone.
He says, I want to be obsessed with somebody. Interesting idea. I don't love the language, but I think that's interesting.
I want to be like, I cannot wait to see that person.
Exactly.
Instead of, like, I've got to go home to you.
Okay, relatable. So already in my 20s, relatable, I identify with this. Oh, you almost didn't want to come home to that person because it's like obviously not your person versus here now. I mean, I work from home. I'm a full-time content creator. My partner's here at home. We're together all day and we've never had a bad day. We just love spending time with each other. I live in Croatia, as you guys know. I don't have any of my friends and family here, so I just basically hang out with my partner all the time. And it's been a couple of years of being together here in Europe, and I just never get sick of him. I never get sick of our time together. I never feel bad about it. If anything, I just feel great about it every day. And I think that's kind of what she's saying, is that when she was in her previous relationship, it was just like a pain to come home to that person. And so I think when they say, I want to be obsessed with the person, they're just saying, I really, really want to like you. Like, I want to like who you are. And I think that's actually something we don't think about when we're dating, is we don't think about how much we should actually like our partner, like really like them as a person. And I think in my 20s, I dated people that I didn't always like. Like, sometimes I would look at them and think like, I don't really like you right now. I think you're kind of like being a bad person. And I haven't thought that once about my partner. Like, I've never looked at my partner and thought, I don't like you. I just think every day, like, wow, I really like this person. Like, I like them as a human,
I want someone who actually chose me because of my soul and not the way I look.
I like that. What's your view, like kids-wise? You want kids?
Yeah, I want kids. Do you?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I want 2, although I'm open to negotiation.
2's ideal, 3 maximum. I don't want an ugly car. Yeah. What are your red flags? I feel like you're hiding something from me. What is it?
Can I throw that question back?
I actually think I'm a well-rounded individual. Like,
you sound it, to be fair.
I'm not going to blow my own trumpet. However, I don't let people in so easily, which is like the biggest factor why I'm doing this. Probably why I've never truly been in love. I've never really shown everyone everything and been like, this is me.
I don't know how this show's going to go, but my autistic brain loves the way they communicate. I don't know if it's the editing, but she's so unafraid. Like, he's like, can I throw that back at you? And she's just not ashamed. There's no weakness inside of her. There's no there is an honest and matter of fact expression of vulnerability. She's just like, yeah, I put up walls. I don't let people in. Facts. Very just like, I keep saying autistic, but it is very like, matter of fact. I really like her energy in that regard. Again, I don't know what the future holds. I also like that he seems very confident as well. Doesn't seem too threatened by the way they're communicating. Doesn't seem to be annoyed with her. Isn't rolling his eyes. So, I see something here for sure.
I just met my husband. I also think that my dad would like him. I think my dad would look at him and be like, yeah, I see why you would have a connection with this guy.
Okay, so she's pretty set on him, and she feels like her dad would like him, which is always nice. Sounds like she's got a good relationship with her dad, and I assume her 4 brothers. So
I've been single for the past year, and I've been quite active on dating apps, and I've just not found anything of real substance.
Okay, so Kieran is dating to get married, and he's been on dating apps for the last year, but hasn't found anybody he's connected with. He said they weren't, deep enough. So let's see if he finds it in the pods.
Megan, so lovely to meet you. My name's Kieran.
Nice to meet you, Kieran.
What do you do?
I am a professional dancer and a fitness instructor.
Are you?
Yeah, I worked on cruise ships for quite a few years.
I love dancing. Like,
do you?
I've got hips that just don't lie. So I've got one older brother, absolute best friends, love him to pieces. To be honest, we stay in contact because we play video games together, if I'm perfectly honest.
Oh, gamer.
My job is actually in the gaming world, so I'm an entrepreneur in the gaming space. I essentially market video games.
Okay, so he markets video games, so he's not a streamer or anything. He works in the traditional business. She also made a little face when he said he was a gamer, and they had a little banter in the beginning about like she's working on cruise ships has worked on cruise ships, but she's a fitness instructor. And he said his hips don't lie, he can dance. So maybe there's something here, but automatically she's imagining, I think, that he's like kind of a nerdy gamer, because the next question she's going to ask is, would you say that you're quite nerdy? And I wouldn't classify him as a nerdy boy. I would classify him as like a basic boy gamer, which is not the same thing as like neurodivergent gamer, which is like the person I married is more like, I definitely would say like not this. This is like my brother. Like this looks like a lot of my brothers in terms of the fashion and stuff. I call them like basic bro gamers. But then there's actually like more, like there's the basement dweller gamers, which I did not marry, or there's the like niche gamers, and that's a little different. And I feel like I've always dated gamer boys, and I've always liked them because they tend to be more progressive, the ones I've dated, and they tend to be more accepting and non-judgmental, generally speaking, versus like a basic bro gamer can tend to be really normative and actually fall more conservative. And then the basement dweller gamers tend to be really like bigoted and like racist and transphobic and homophobic. So they're not good. So there's like 3 levels of gamers, okay? And I always try to date the sweet gamer or the gamer who's like more progressive, because they're like, who am I to judge? You know, that kind of gamer. Like same thing with cosplay or any other like niche community. There's always the normies who cosplay, the weirdos who cosplay, and just the sweet people. And you got to go for the sweet people. But because of the dating, like the dating group of people here, I assume more or less they're going to be normie gamers than the other 2. So she doesn't have anything to worry about per se, but she seems apprehensive about it.
I mean, I've had boyfriends, but they've been pretty short term.
Okay.
Because I've been traveling a lot. It's not easy to keep a relationship, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it just never really worked. But yeah, I just
Okay, so something I already noticed with this group of people as I was making my list and writing down their careers is everyone seems very, very focused, right? Like their jobs are going to be a big part of why dating has been difficult. And I think that's just such a universal experience. I mean, even as a YouTuber, one of the first questions I have to bring up when dating people is like, how do you feel about dating a public figure? I talk about my life. Even in this video here, I've talked about my relationship. So though my partner isn't a public figure and they're completely offline, I exist and I'm here and I'm representing our marriage to the public. So it's kind of one of those things where like, I have to ask, like, how do you feel about that? You know, there are things obviously I don't share, but generally speaking, I will talk about my life. And sometimes that means I will talk about my marriage. And sometimes that means I will even talk about my partner. And then that's a really important question to ask people. So whatever your job is, whether you're a teacher or a fitness instructor or work in the gaming industry, it's a conversation that has to come up. Like, what do you do for work and how's that going to impact our lives? And then even going back to the previous couple who were both little cadets as kids, one was in the military and one wasn't. The flight attendant girl, when you have that kind of a couple dynamic, the question is our job going to keep us away from each other, which will add to the potential of a divorce? Because if I'm not seeing you 8 months out of the year, are we even in a relationship?
So good on my own, but I just know it'd be 10 times better, like sharing those memories with someone else.
Yeah, I just want to like share loads of experiences with my partner.
They both said that they were fine single, but that they would like to share experiences with a partner. You should ask yourself, what is companionship for? Is it just to share an experience with somebody? Because you could do that with a friend or a family or a dog. Is it that you are bonding with a consciousness and the universe? And so you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense for us to be together. Like, what were the chances we were going to meet? I hold a belief, obviously, that, you know, you don't choose, you discover, you come across, you meet, you don't force it. I don't want to settle in a marriage or relationship or heck, even friends, that the connections are organic and are meant to be. And they either are meant to be for short term or long term, but people come in and out of your life for a reason. I do think certain people come into your life to kind of be, you know, just like these really important life-changing experiences. And the question is this somebody I'm going to grow old with or somebody that I'm going to reference as somebody I used to know, you know?
Do you want to build a family? Like,
yeah, definitely. One day I would love to have kids.
Yeah.
I think
you know, all these people talking about kids in this economy, very interesting.
Would love to just have one. And I'd also love to adopt.
Oh,
wow.
It's just
cute.
always something I'd love to do.
As long as it's ethical adoption, I'm for it. But a lot of adoption is literally buying children from parents who want to keep their kids but can't afford it. And you tell me that's not a messed up system.
Kieran is super lovely. I think he's got like that little something about him.
See you later.
Okay, so maybe we'll have a little bit of a choice he'll have to make between Sophie and Megan. Okay, Sophie and Megan. I'm going to make a note here that they're connecting.
I don't want any more boyfriends. I want to be with someone for the rest of my life.
Oh, I love that she said, I don't want any more boyfriends. I went through that when I hit 30. I was single for 3 years and I was like, I'm done having boyfriends, girlfriends, living with people I'm not married to. I'm serious about, I'm ready. And it took me 3 years to find my now married partner, but it really was such a relief to liberate myself from needing to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
So are you still going to be very open though, or do you feel like you're quite like, he's my top
No,
vibe?
I do really like him. Like, he's very, very similar to me.
Oh my gosh, maybe you found your husband.
It's just a weird feeling to know that someone that you potentially like is dating other people.
I never used to take astrology or spirituality that seriously, and it changed my life, so I'm such an advocate for it now.
Every time you piss on a tree, you become part of that tree.
I love it. I love a little spiritual conversation, a little philosophical conversation, a little religious conversation. I love the idea of people having conversations about their place in the universe, what it means to exist. You know, is there a God? All very important questions to talk about.
I want to find my life partner. I want to find that, my soulmate, my twin flame. I want to have the best experience with
Oh,
her.
no, Patrick, no. Twin flame is toxic, Patrick. Twin flames are toxic by design. You do not want a twin flame. Everybody lock in. You want to have somebody who's grounded in reality, who's data-based, who, yes, has an experience with spirituality, but you do not want to engage in the bubble that is twin flames, okay? The concept of a twin flame is inherently toxic. So bad language to be using. You need to deconstruct that bubble. Man, I was so excited for a second that people were talking about, deeper topics about what it means to be in the universe. And then he said twin flame.
My name is Patrick.
Patrick with the deep voice.
I would say I'm very unconventional. I'm not the typical London boy. I'm very spiritual and just following my spiritual journey and my energy. I'm so into alignment and just spur of the moment
It's giving scam. I'm sorry, Patrick. I'm sorry, you said twin flames, which tells me you haven't done your research, which tells me you either have done your research and you're scamming, you're engaged in a very toxic spiritual bubble, and so you're engaged in a belief system that is negative, and or you're engaging in some sort of, I don't know, fuckboy spirituality thing. So you got to figure that out.
I have this thing where I follow my spleen.
Oh, how interesting. Okay.
It might sound a bit weird, but it's even more potent than your gut, and you follow it literally to the second. As soon as you feel that feeling of something's going to be good or bad, you just trust it's the best way for me to find the love of my life. I just follow my spleen.
Look, I like drugs as much as the next person. What are we doing here, Patrick? What are we doing here, buddy?
Nice to meet you,
What's your
Patrick.
name?
Anu, A-A-N-U.
What do you do?
I'm a singer. What
You're
about
a
you?
singer. Oh my God, that's amazing. Love that. Talented.
What do you do, Patrick?
I'm a human design coach.
Oh.
Okay, he's a human design coach. So basically, I'm a life coach. Boo! Oh, Patrick. Sorry, my bro.
I'm like a life coach, but I use spiritual system called human design.
Okay, this is a lot to write. Why marriage now?
I want to get
No, I want to know what this spiritual human design thing is. This is why I say philosophy and spirituality tend to overlap, but they are different bubbles. The spirituality bubble is just way too connected to scams, versus the philosophy bubble is more connected to ego, which is why you have to have the humility to deconstruct the ego in order to actually have a good philosophical outlook, because most of it ends up just being angry, cranky men who want to prove to the world that they're so intelligent, or people just want to worship them because they said something smart, right? And then not to even mention the female philosophers that exist in the world, or non-binary or whatever, gender fluid people. This is the question. Is Patrick a spiritual scamming guru coach, or is he somebody who's engaging in something actually organic and data-based? And I'm not getting good vibes. I'm just not getting good vibes.
Basically, I've done everything I've wanted to do in life, and I would love that someone to just, blow my mind and make me feel something that I've never felt before. And it's really hard to put it in language. I would say it's more of a feeling. Call it a splenic awareness, like an intuition thing.
What's that?
So basically, I trust my instinct in the moment, and in the moment.
Splenic, I'm writing this down. Splenic awareness. I'm learning new words here.
Love
So what?
that.
You trusting your gut instinct?
I don't like this. This is Anu as well. She is the singer in the group, which we love to see. She's 29. Patrick is 33. I'm not loving him. It's just giving life coach scammer.
It's something that I can't switch on or switch off. I won't question it, and I'll always follow it because it's never led me astray.
So, okay, I am a Christian.
Yeah, right.
Already a red flag. Christianity is based in a patriarchal framework. Do not know why you would choose that, except that you're probably raised in a bubble that raised you Christian. I know, I was raised Catholic. So also red flag from her, because what are we doing?
I do pray.
Yes.
I do fast.
Yeah.
I do read my Bible.
Right.
So how does that fit in with your lifestyle?
Good question. Values question.
Because I get up in the morning, I want to pray.
Right.
I call my family, we pray together.
Right. That's so beautiful when you say with your family you pray together. That's amazing. I was raised Christian, Catholic actually.
Okay.
Done Holy Communion and confirmation. So.
Oh, me too, bro. Ooh, you know what they say, Patrick? Once a Catholic, always a Catholic. We're hooked in for life, bro.
Christianity was actually a massive part of my life growing up. I was always praying and just affirmations and really talking to God in my head and things like that. So that's beautiful. I love that.
Interesting. He is interesting. I will give him that.
Patrick, you're so kind.
So are you, honestly. I really love your voice as well. It's very... it gives me such a safe space. I feel so comfortable.
Okay, good vibes, generally speaking. I mean, they obviously are both very attractive and good vibes, and they're both very warm. I'm questioning both of them in regards to their belief systems, but also it will be curious to see how much they connect.
You come in here with a set of qualities that you're looking for in a man, and then in these short snippet of dates, you feel like, oh, this guy has these qualities. However, though, is he interested about me? I feel like with Patrick, we're speaking we're best.
Patrick a little bit has I'm high a little bit. He has that typical spiritual bro gaze. He just You know, he, which no judgment, like I said, but he does kind of give off this like, whatever works, man.
Friends already. I can't wait to see what happens.
Okay, what I'm going to do here, guys, because I've already recorded so much content, I expect these episodes can be so long. Let's leave it here. You know, we'll end on that good note about Anu and Patrick. And I look forward to getting to know the other contestants as we continue to watch this show and learn about ourselves through their lives. And I just want to thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. And of course, no spoilers in the comment sections, please, because I do read your comments and I like to be surprised and I'd like to guess as we move along through the series. Okay, thank you for being here and I'll see you for the next time. Bye-bye.